The engagement party at the Riverside Ballroom was unfolding exactly as everyone had predicted it would. 200 guests filled the space, their laughter blending with the soft clink of crystal glasses and the low hum of a string quartet stationed near the far wall. Champagne flowed freely, servers gliding between clusters of well-dressed relatives and friends like practiced dancers. The chandeliers overhead cast a warm, golden glow over everything, making even ordinary smiles look polished and perfect. At the center of it all stood my sister Brooke. For the past hour she had been holding her left hand just high enough to catch the light, subtly rotating her wrist as if by accident, ensuring every conversation somehow drifted toward her engagement ring. 2 carats, platinum setting, brilliant cut. It sparkled so intensely it almost felt aggressive, like it demanded admiration. She told the proposal story again, how her fiancé had surprised her during a weekend getaway, how he'd gotten down on one knee just as the sun set, how she'd completely blacked out from happiness. It was the 15th time I'd heard it that night. Possibly the 20th. My parents stood beside her, glowing with pride at every retelling. My mother asked questions about the jeweler, the cut, the clarity, nodding solemnly as if she were evaluating a museum piece. My father beamed, correcting minor details in Brooke's story as though he'd been present for the proposal himself. I stood a few feet away near the bar, nursing a single glass of Pinot Noir. I smiled when someone noticed me. I offered congratulations when it was expected. Otherwise, I blended into the background with the waitstaff and the floral arrangements, present but largely unnoticed. It was familiar, comfortable, even invisible had been my role for years. Then Uncle James arrived. He entered the ballroom slightly breathless, suit jacket still open, apologizing loudly about his delayed flight as he weaved through the crowd. Heads turned, conversations paused. James had that effect. He always had. He wasn't just my father's younger brother. He was a venture capitalist who had made a fortune backing tech startups back when people still laughed at the idea of apps replacing entire industries. He lived in San Francisco now, 3,000 miles away, but somehow managed to feel more connected to my life than anyone else in the room. "Sorry I'm late, everyone," James said cheerfully, setting his overnight bag down near the gift table. He hugged Brooke first, congratulated her fiancé, admired the ring with genuine warmth rather than competitive fascination. Then he turned, scanning the room, and his face broke into a real smile when he saw me. "Sophia," he said, pulling me into a firm embrace. "God, it's good to see you." He stepped back, hands still on my shoulders, studying my face like he always did, as if checking for signs of exhaustion or stress I might be hiding. "You look incredible," he said sincerely. "How's life in that $1.5 million house you bought? Is the neighborhood everything you hoped for?" The effect was immediate. Conversation around us died mid-sentence. Brooke's hand froze in the air, engagement ring suspended between gestures. My mother's champagne flute stopped halfway to her lips. My father's smile vanished so quickly it looked like someone had erased it. For a moment, the only sound was the distant violin and the faint clink of glassware somewhere behind us. "What house?" my father whispered. James blinked, confused, still smiling. "The house on Sterling Heights," he said casually, accepting a champagne flute from a passing server. "The craftsman Sophia bought back in 2016. Gorgeous place. Incredible mountain view. I stayed there last time I was in town." I took a slow sip of my wine. 8 years. 8 years of being overlooked, of conversations redirecting away from me, of achievements quietly swallowed while Brooke's milestones became full productions, spotlights, applause, standing ovations. And now, finally, the truth had stepped into the room wearing my uncle's voice. Brooke found her voice first, sharp and brittle. "Sophia doesn't own a house. She rents that apartment near the university." "I rented that apartment," I said calmly, lowering my glass, "for about 2 years during my PhD program. Then I bought the house on Sterling Heights. That was 8 years ago. Burp. My father's champagne flute tilted dangerously in his grip. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the 5-bedroom craftsman I purchased in June 2016, I replied evenly, "for $1.2 million. It's now valued at approximately $1.5 million based on recent market comparables." The number seemed to echo through the space between us. My mother's hand flew to her throat. "That's impossible," she breathed. "Where would you get that kind of money? I put down 240,000, I said. Finance the rest. James nodded approvingly. And paid off the mortgage early. Very smart. I paid it off 6 years ago, I added. The room felt suddenly too small. You paid off $1 million mortgage? My father said faintly. Yes. Brooke's smile had vanished completely now, replaced by something raw and panicked. That doesn't make sense. It does, I said softly. You just weren't listening. James lifted his glass. Best financial decision she ever made. My parents stared at me like they were seeing a stranger wearing my face. And that was the moment I realized this wasn't shock. This was grief, for the version of me they had invented, one that was easier to ignore. James lifted his glass slightly, as if to punctuate the moment. Best financial decision she ever made. The words seemed to snap something fragile in the air. My mother blinked rapidly, as though her eyes had suddenly forgotten how to focus. 6 years ago? She repeated. Sophia, you would have been, what, 30? 31? I said. My father set his champagne flute down on a nearby table with exaggerated care, as if afraid it might shatter in his hand. You're telling us you bought a house for over $1 million, paid it off in 2 years, and never once thought to mention it? I did mention it, I replied quietly. Several times. James nodded. I remember the emails. Brooke laughed suddenly. It came out sharp and brittle, the kind of laugh people use when reality starts to tilt sideways. Okay, no. This is ridiculous. Sophia, you work in a lab. You don't make that kind of money. I don't work in a lab, I corrected gently. Not anymore. My father looked at me like he was bracing for bad news. Then what exactly do you do? I'm the director of oncology research at Helix Pharmaceuticals. Silence again. Thicker this time. I oversee a department of 47 researchers, I continued, my voice steady, almost clinical. We're currently running multiple phase 3 trials. James added helpfully, her team is leading one of the most promising pancreatic cancer therapies in development. My mother shook her head slowly. No, that can't be right. You never asked, I said. The words landed softly but carried weight. Brooke crossed her arms tightly over her chest. So what, you're saying you're some kind of executive now? Yes. And you expect us to believe that? I don't expect anything, I said. I'm explaining. My father swallowed hard. How much? He asked, then hesitated. How much do you make? I took a breath. My current annual compensation is $375,000. Someone behind us gasped. I didn't look to see who. That includes bonuses and stock options, I added. Base salary is $280,000. My mother actually staggered back a step, bumping into a table. 375, she repeated, like she was testing the words for accuracy. A year. James smiled faintly. That's actually conservative for her role. Brooke's voice came out strained. That's more than your fiancé makes? James finished casually. Yes, significantly more. Brooke's face flushed crimson. And the signing bonus? My father asked, almost afraid of the answer. 180,000, I said, when I left my postdoc position to join Helix. You got paid that just to start? Brooke snapped. That's standard for senior hires in pharmaceutical research, I said, especially when patents are involved. My mother's eyes widened. Patents? I hold 11, I said. On oncology drug delivery systems. The room felt like it was tilting. They generate about $95,000 annually in licensing fees, I added, mostly to be thorough. My father stared at the floor. 11 patents, he muttered. James leaned in slightly. And that doesn't include her unvested equity. She's sitting on roughly $420,000 there. My mother pressed a hand to her chest. I don't understand, she whispered. You were always so quiet. You never posted about it? I offered. Talked about it constantly? Made it your personality? She nodded helplessly. I was busy, I said. Working. Brooke's hand, the one with the ring, began to tremble. So this whole time, she said slowly, you were just hiding all of this? I wasn't hiding, I replied. I just didn't perform. James set his empty glass down. Sophia has never needed an audience. A new voice joined us then. Sophia? I turned to see Dr. Elizabeth Park approaching, elegant and composed, her expression warm with genuine recognition. I didn't know you'd be here, she said. Congratulations on the FDA breakthrough designation. My father stiffened. The what? I smiled politely. Thank you, Elizabeth. That's incredible news, she continued. Breakthrough therapy status is no small thing. My mother's voice came out barely above a whisper. What does that mean? It means, I explained, that the FDA fast-tracks our drug because it shows substantial improvement over existing treatments. For pancreatic cancer, Elizabeth added, which is notoriously difficult to treat. My father's face drained of color. Pancreatic cancer, yes, Elizabeth beamed. If everything goes well, this could save thousands of lives. My mother stared at me as though she were seeing me for the first time. You're doing that? Yes. And the Nature Medicine article? Elizabeth asked. I meant to tell you, brilliant work. Potentially Nobel level. My father's mouth opened, then closed again. Nobel? It's early, I said quickly, but the research is promising. Brooke let out a short, hollow laugh. So what, you're famous now too? I'm respected, I said. There's a difference. Elizabeth nodded. Her work has been cited over 4,000 times. She's published 37 peer-reviewed papers. My parents looked physically stunned. Brooke suddenly turned away. I need some air. She pushed through the crowd toward the balcony, her fiancé hesitating before following her. My mother took a step after them, then stopped when my father gently caught her arm. Let them go, he said quietly. We need to talk to Sophia. I felt something settle in my chest then. Not anger, not triumph. Just a calm, irreversible shift. And that was when James casually asked, So, Sophia, have you decided about the lake house investment yet? My father turned sharply. Lake house? Lake house? My father repeated, his voice cracking slightly. James nodded, unfazed by the tension thick enough to choke on. There's a property available on Lake Serenity. 6 bedrooms, private dock, about 3 acres. Sophia's been considering it as a vacation rental. My mother swayed on her feet. My father reached out instinctively and steadied her by the elbow. A vacation? Rental? She whispered. For income diversification, Ja. Mez said easily. She already owns 4 rental properties in addition to her primary residence. This would be her 6th. The words hit like a physical blow. 4? My mother echoed. Small single-family homes, I said. Emerging neighborhoods. I buy below market, renovate, rent to young professionals. And the income? My father asked automatically. Old instincts kicking in. About $1,800 per property per month after expenses. My father did the math without meaning to. That's over $86,000 a year, not counting appreciation, James added. Those properties have increased in value an average of 42%. Her total real estate equity is just over $2.1 million. Brooke wasn't there to hear it. In a strange way, I was glad. That's just real estate, James continued, almost apologetic. Her total net worth is closer to $3.2 million. The number hung in the air. $3 million, my mother said faintly. 3.2, I corrected. Approximately. My mother's champagne flute slipped from her fingers and shattered on the marble floor. This time, no one noticed. You're a multimillionaire, she said. On paper, I replied. Most of it's invested. Another voice joined us then, warm and familiar. Sophia! Elizabeth returned, smiling brightly. Are you coming to Geneva next month? Yes, I said. I'm presenting our Phase 3 preliminary data. The keynote, she added proudly. Youngest speaker in the symposium's 40-year history. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. Geneva? The International Oncology Research Symposium, I said. It's a significant honor. Significant? James scoffed. It's historic. My father stared at me, eyes glossy. Why didn't we know any of this? I met his gaze evenly. Because you never asked. That's not fair, he protested weakly. James stepped in. Actually, it's accurate. I have the emails. He recited dates with surgical precision. Thanksgiving interruptions, Easter misunderstandings, years of quiet dismissal. The color drained from my parents' faces as memory caught up to truth. I'm sorry, my mother whispered, breaking. I didn't realize. You didn't want to, I said softly. My father's voice shook. We love you both equally. Then tell me something about my life, I said. Anything. Silence. James answered instead. My job, my address, my work, my purpose. We should have known, my mother sobbed. Yes, I agreed. You should have. What do you want from us? My father asked, raw now. I searched myself and found nothing. Nothing. The realization surprised me with its lightness. I wanted you to be proud of me once, I continued. I wanted to be seen. I stopped wanting that 4 years ago. My mother reached for me. We can fix this. Can you? I asked. Or do you just want a version of me you can brag about? The truth landed hard. James touched my shoulder gently. Sophia, I'm leaving, I said. I walked away before anyone could stop me. In the lobby, James caught up. You okay? I will be. They'll call, he said. But you don't owe them forgiveness. He was right. I drove home to Sterling Heights, to my 5-bedroom Craftsman with its mountain views and quiet dignity. I walked through each room, my office, my library, the guest suite, the garden, each space a testament to choices made without applause. My phone rang, voicemail, again, voicemail, a text from Brooke, you couldn't let me have one night. I set the phone down, standing there surrounded by 8 years of quiet achievement. I felt no anger, only clarity. I had built something extraordinary, without permission, without validation, without them. And that meant I never needed their approval to begin with. I never had.